I mean, I've just seen from personal experience that when you give someone a truly good tomato or a truly good carrot or something like that, and they've never had one before, it's life-changing. It really is. I mean, I realized like, growing up that I just didn't eat very good vegetables, and I didn't know that until I had them. And then I was like, holy shit, this is a totally different, this is a totally different world.
So what else do we have to do? The burgers?
Yeah, just gonna cook the burgers.
So for the burgers, would be the salad.
Two salads.
Two salads.
Three salads.
Made the buns. What else? The strawberry shortcake. This is a serious feast.
Yeah, we're not making no dumpy bullshit feast.
That might not be enough.
I am in deep with you, darling. I am in deep with you, darling. The falling that is ours to enjoy, the opening that is ours to explore. Now go on, come on, go on, let's fall in. I am in deep with you, darling. I am in deep with you, darling. The moment unlocks door after door inside every bird. There's a bird. Now go on, come on, go on.
I never thought I'd be a farmer's wife. I never thought I'd lead what my city-dwelling friends call an alternative lifestyle. I never thought my late 20s would be filled with chickens, kale, corn, and 1,000 other vegetables. This is a story about a love for the earth and all its bounty, about how the crunch of a sweet, fresh carrot can change the course of someone's life, about a filmmaker who fell in love with a farmer. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's Austin.
There's not a lot of jobs where you can eat what you can eat your product, you know? I mean, I can be out there and I can eat all day if I want to, which for me is great because I love to eat. You have this sort of buffet of all the things that you like to eat because you're the one growing them, and it's right there and it's as fresh as it'll ever be. Like with peas, for example, like, yeah, we pick a lot of peas, but I think with the snap peas, the ones that are like the thickness of your pinky finger, that's where it's at. And I'm like, so now I'm kind of snobby about it, and I'll be like, oh, well, I don't need to eat the other ones if I can eat the really thick ones. I make myself sick with peas pretty much every time I pick them. I can't help myself. It's like candy.
I have witnessed Austin develop as a farmer, first as an apprentice, then on a shared 1-acre plot, and now on a larger farm. He has never made much money. He pays out of pocket for lousy health insurance, and he routinely works from dawn to dusk. He is part of a growing crop of young farmers reclaiming the land, who despite myriad hardships never seem to complain. Perhaps their steadfastness is what has produced a frustratingly flowery image of the organic farming movement, an image that did not match the emotional, financial, and physical stress I witnessed sharing a home with a farmer. I began to wonder, could passion alone fuel these young farmers? And perhaps more importantly, how can we consider their produce sustainable if their livelihood is not?
I guess my least favorite part about farming is maybe partially being underpaid, partially feeling like I'm being inadequate in my ability to get my message out about why I'm doing what I'm doing, and having people be interested. At the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure that we're going to be able to keep doing this. I guess the mantra of organic farming compared to industrial farming is the way you look at the soil. In organic farming, you think of it as a living, breathing thing that is full of microbial life, it's full of all sorts of biology, and it's part of a system. You know, you can hear the birds in the trees. There's a whole ecosystem going on. So what we do is we think about how with each year you can improve the quality of the soil. Whereas industrial farming, the idea is to sterilize the soil like agar in a petri dish. And it's the medium through which food is grown. With us, this is one of the reasons that organic vegetables cost more, is that we mechanically cultivate. So rather than spraying Roundup on Roundup ready corn, we have weeds in the middle of our onions.
Yeah.
And so what we have to do is cultivate them by hand or figure out some sort of mechanically efficient way of doing that.
Austin and I met in college in Boston, and after spending several years abroad after we graduated, we decided to move to California. Both Austin and I were raised with pretty typical American attitudes towards produce. We both grew up on predominantly frozen vegetables, and I didn't eat fresh spinach until I was at least 20 years old.
Growing up, I ate so much fast food. We would always eat Hamburger Helper and stuff like that, and I had the whole Taco Bell menu memorized. We would go there 4 or 5 times a week, up through high school even. I mean, and the amount of soda that I drank and all that kind of stuff, it's crazy to think back on. And I think getting into food and getting into systems of food and how to grow food and cook it and all of that has really been a centering force in my life that's allowed me to grow as a person.
I never thought I'd make a movie about Austin. Truthfully, until he became a farmer, our lives just didn't seem that out of the ordinary. But as he is a centering force in my life, when I saw how hard he worked and realized how much he cared about his health and our friends' health and my health, I felt compelled to do something I had never done before and make a movie about our life. I did this partly to comfort myself in my new life outside of the city, partly to show other people how hard farming is, but I think mostly out of complete awe in the face of Austin's absolute passion for this lifestyle.
Why did you become a farmer?
I don't know that I have a succinct way of saying it, but I guess I really got into it through cooking.
Can you start with, I became a farmer because?
Oh.
Like your mission statement as a farmer, what is it?
Yikes. I don't know, what's your mission statement as a filmmaker? That's hard. And obviously nobody's getting rich off of growing vegetables. But I think it's something that can be a viable business, at least that we can have a positive effect on the community, can grow good food for the community, can do well by ourselves and by the workers. But I don't know, it's hard with a tough economy and with people less willing to spend money on things that they see, or maybe they don't understand the difference, or maybe they don't care.
Are you each cutting a different lettuce?
He and I are both cutting soy at the moment, actually. We kind of cut it unevenly last time. So he's down there and I'm over here, but we're doing the same thing. Yeah, I guess that's the thing about spring is that things are growing so quickly that, you know, if you look away for a week, they can really get out of control. Now it's really the time where if there's anything that we sort of want to have in the ground long term, it's got to go in the ground. Like, for example, at the farm, I'm trying to plant my own corn and beans. I've been trying to get those into the ground. And it just every chance I had, it rained and we weren't able to plant. I like growing vegetables. I like having that kind of volume of vegetables around, but vegetables don't account for a lot of my protein, and they can't unless I really start growing beans and corn and grains and stuff like that. And so I think for me now, this is the kind of next step to seeing, okay, realistically, is that something that's profitable for me? You know, maybe I'll be able to answer some of those questions for myself this year. We're going to be planting corn and a little bit of dry beans if there's space. And I was ready to plant, you know, a month ago, but it's just every time I couldn't just get my schedule together with the rain. And this is the first time it's been dry enough to till in this particular area. Beans that grow in pole variety are more productive. They have more fruit, so you can get a bigger harvest off of them. But the catch is obviously that they have to have a trellis. So corn is a natural trellis for beans, and that's why people have been using corn as a trellis for forever. So now I'm going to do my best to push this thing in a straight line, down and back.
What Austin's not mentioning here is that he's growing the corn and beans on his own time. Planting, weeding, picking will all be done after hours at the farm. This idea of growing your own corn and beans in addition to all the crops at the farm to fill some gaps in your diet is when I began to develop the idea that Austin might just have a better appreciation for taste than the rest of us. Otherwise, why else would you do this? With many couples, there comes a time when the subject of getting a pet comes up. Usually, this is a dog or a cat. For us, it was chickens.
At long last, we're finally getting our chicks.
Is one gonna be our pet?
No. No, one is not going to be our pet.
We didn't know you were allowed to do that.
Maybe you're not. That's the lady I talked to last time.
It is a 90% guarantee that they're hens.
Okay.
Oh,
Occasionally, we get a rooster.
So maybe we should get 7,
yeah.
just in case. A chicken net, amazing.
Yeah, here we go. Just kind of drag them this way. Here we go.
Oh, that's a cute one. People get into it for production, but you have to be at least as interested or at least as competent in the business side of things, or you're just not going to make it in the long run. Because it's a business. It's like anything else. You have to make a profit.
Austin's passion for food is what drove him to seek out Paul Wirtz. Paul is a pillar in Sonoma agriculture, and his 15-acre organic vegetable farm, aptly named Paul's Produce, is an organic oasis amid some 70,000 acres of conventionally grown grapes. Very soon after Paul hired Austin on as an assistant farmer, it became apparent that Paul was providing Austin with decades of knowledge, and Austin was providing Paul with new energy and fresh ideas.
When I came to Sonoma and started farming, there really wasn't much of this going on, so I thought, well, there's an open door. You know, I came from a background in mainstream ag, but it's just not that interesting to me. This is far more interesting. There's a lot more actual interaction with the earth and with, you know, how to build soils, and that's a terrific thing, actually. And we look at the wholesalers' prices all the time to see where we can put our price that will maybe edge out the restaurant buying from the wholesaler, or maybe there's some cases where we just go, geez, we shouldn't be going this at all because there's no way we can sell it for that cheap and feel okay about it, you know?
I worry about money a lot, but I'm kind of a worrier.
Austin is constantly assessing our financial situation. With my meager earnings as a filmmaker and yoga teacher, and his income as a farmer, we basically live month to month. The fact that we don't have to worry about food, either in quantity or quality, is why we do this, but it is also what makes us financially able to do this.
I'm always going to have to convince people that my vegetables are worth what I'm asking for them. And I think that what's tough about this is people are so used to going to the grocery store, here's the price on the vegetables, that's what it costs. But then you go somewhere else and it's a seemingly similar product, like at the farmer's market, but it's more expensive. And if with many people we can engage in a dialogue of why that is. But I think some people are turned off by the whole concept. Because we direct market, because we don't have an intermediary between us and the people buying our product, we sell directly to restaurants, we sell directly to people at the farmers markets. We sell to a grocery store, which is an intermediary, and we have to sell it to for a lower price to them. But because we do that, we get a higher percentage of the food dollars, but it is more labor. I have to drive out and do that. You know, with the cultivating, we have to have people do that by hand. We have to pick it by hand, we have to wash it by hand, pack it by hand. We don't have big machines and conveyor belts and all that stuff. And so it's gonna cost more per unit doing it that way.
How do you know whether they're right?
Just by color and by feel. In this case, a lot of them are overripe, actually. We're into what most people would maybe call harvest season now. I can't tell you how much I get that question. You guys in harvest season yet? Yeah, we pick year round. Oh, okay. But yeah, I guess we're getting closer to harvest season.
In the local food movement, no single crop has taken on more importance than the heirloom tomato. Perhaps this is because most grocery store tomatoes are hybrids that are built to withstand long journeys across the country or from overseas. But their hardiness comes at a sacrifice of flavor and quality. Nowadays, most grocery stores carry heirloom varietals, even year-round. But this comes at a price, as they are often flown in from around the world to ensure their year-round presence in the produce section. Local heirloom tomatoes, grown at small farms across the United States, are one of the truest treats of summer, and when bought in season from a farmer, are not at all expensive.
moving into the summer, I'm most looking forward to everything that grows in the summer. I'm looking forward to probably the same thing all the customers are looking forward to, which is actually what's kind of exciting, is that, you know, it's not like I produce a product and the user is somehow separate from me, you know. I'm also a user of my product. And just the incredible abundance this time of year. I mean, if you don't have money, you have time, I guess, but but we don't have either. Make time. I mean, I honestly, you know, I like it better than watching television. So, you know, some people watch TV 5 hours a day. I play with food 5 hours a day, in addition to my job.
Farming the way Austin and Paul do means being involved in the manufacturing, marketing, selling, and customer service. Sometimes these duties are best allocated to other members of the team, and Paul's wife, Candy, is the farmer's market guru.
My challenge is to be able to sell everything that they produce there. And that's, you know, that helps with the bottom line. How can we get the most money for what is actually produced there? If we could sell everything, would that be enough money? And to stay cheerful about it, and to stay excited about the 10th year of eggplant and the onslaught of the tomatoes as they come on, and how heavy they are, and moving the stand from week to week and putting up and down the tents. It's the mental fortitude is to just keep every conversation with every person at the stand as if it's the first time I've talked about the cucumbers or the and that's
hard.
Yeah.
I surrender.
He doesn't do the farmers market anymore because it's very difficult to stay upbeat.
Soak them first. Soak them in like salty water for about a half an hour. Just, you know, because these are organic, so sometimes there's bugs that get in there. So if you soak them upside down, all that stuff is going to drop out.
Oh yes, this is powerful stuff. Got me circling like the moon round the sun, acting crazy like a fool all drunk. Hear me, this is powerful stuff. There's no way for you to give this up. It's in your body, it's all in your blood. To tear you down, it'll lift you up and keep you turning like it's never enough. All right, now let's turn it up. Every day do like a flower does. The sun it rises and she
A late summer and cooler weather have delayed the farm's tomatoes, despite the fact that several out-of-town sellers already have them at the farmer's market. The result, mature tomatoes sit unpicked on the vines.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a bunch of canning today. We talked with Paul and said that if we pick the tomatoes, they're ours. So we got our tomato crew here. You know these guys. And what we're looking for is really ripe. So see how squishy that is?
Okay.
You're like, I wouldn't buy that.
Big and squishy.
What you wouldn't buy, basically.
What you wouldn't buy. Actually, big doesn't even matter. We just want squishy. So the reason that we're doing this also is that it's just totally loaded. It doesn't matter if we use these. We're not going to sell them anyhow. And we're just trying to make use of as much product as possible.
I'm just gonna do this for like 3 more minutes and then I'm gonna help out, I swear. So why are you spending your one day off coming and picking tomatoes?
Well, it's a fun thing to do with friends, and it's a way to make a little extra cash, hopefully. And more than all of that, I think what we're trying to conceptualize here is how can we create a food system around the idea of using as much as possible. Given the quality and quantity of tomatoes that we can grow and the number of hungry people you have right now, that we need to start working toward how we can create a system that actually saves what we grow. Going around the past weeks, it's felt really good seeing the quality of our produce compared to others. And I don't want to say that anybody's produce is this or that, but just seeing how ours fits in the grand scheme of things, it makes me proud to do what I do. But the reality of it is that that's not enough to pay the bills. So it's got to be good, and people have to be willing to pay what it's worth.
For young farmers, I think that, the issue of staying strong and staying healthy and staying passionate about the hours that it takes, the toll that it takes on you, that is really a trick. You have to really love it.
Summer is the hardest time of year for a farmer. Austin won't say it because farmers don't complain, and he doesn't complain. But I can see it. The work is nonstop. At any time of year, the to-do list is long, but at the height of summer, it is interminable.
Sleepy farmer. What's made you so tired?
We're just doing a lot of weeding today in the lettuce. Trying to figure out a good way to hoe them is frustrating. It's already taking me too long. So I don't know what to do.
It's like 3:15.
Is it?
Well, I don't want to be the one to spoil the fun.
Oh, you just did. Pretty much any warm month, there's always too much to do. You gotta just cut your losses. Like we stopped harvesting a row of padrones today because we just weren't selling, as much as we could pick. So it didn't make sense to pick as much as we were picking.
I think sometimes it feels like we're charging along, doing really, really well, and yet, we could get an engine blowout, and we're that close to it not being okay. There's a lot of stress in that.
Somebody's not having a good time. Oh, yeah, there it is. I see it. That's it.
How can you grow good-looking organic produce? At the beginning, that was actually kind of a big issue. How can you make it look appealing like the mainstream stuff? That's all been figured out quite amply. In fact, I think most organic produce tends to look way better than conventional produce now. And all the issues of fertility and bug management and all that stuff is sort of behind us, and now it's sort of like, how do you figure out a system that more and more people can afford it, and how can the farmer make enough money to justify all the inputs and all the other stuff.
Being with Austin, I've learned that the farming life is not all sunsets and morning dew, fresh melons and carrots. It's also work. Back-breaking, never-ending, dawn to dusk work. The summer is the time of year when most of my peers are hosting lazy Saturday barbecues and taking Mondays off to go on extended camping trips. For Austin, and by association for me, it's the time of year when every hour of the day is sectioned off for some sort of task, even hanging out. This is a reality of farming that I didn't realize existed until I was faced with it. and I wasn't prepared for how frustrating never seeing Austin would be.
Jake was going to ask you if you were sad that you couldn't be hanging out with us today, but then we thought it'd make you too sad.
No, I am sad that I can't be hanging out with you today. You know, I don't like working Saturdays. But at the same time, we talked about this before, like, going out to bars or going out to shows is not
your thing.
It's not my thing. And, like, I'll do it and have fun, but that's not like if I had a free weekend, that's not what I would just automatically do.
Totally. But that was never the issue. I mean, that was certainly never the issue.
Right.
Because it's not like I want to do that either.
Right.
It's like I want to just like chill on the couch and like watch a movie, you know, or like have a glass of wine. So that was the main issue. Right. It wasn't like, oh, I want to go out to a bar, you want to come with me? It was like, I want to sit inside and not do anything for 5 minutes, and we couldn't achieve that.
Well, I'm caught in a box and I can't get out.
Something had to change. Of course, I didn't want Austin to quit his job, and leaving him was never an option. But something had to give. And the one thing that was left to give was the gardening at our house. So even in the middle of summer, even though we had hundreds of tomatoes and tons of other stuff that was growing, we had to stop.
Caught in a box and the sun going down.
Things coming together. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I guess, I mean, I'm feeling good about what I'm learning and but I feel like I'm getting better at what I do. I think, you know, as with pretty much anything you do, the more you do it, the more you learn what you need to know and how much you don't know. So, yeah, I guess in some ways things are coming together, but in other ways I'm sort of like, oh, I got a long way to go. Oh, no, look. Dragon's tongue beans.
Wait, like those are the ones that we had at our house?
Yeah, remember from last year?
Yeah.
These are the fresh eating ones. Good. Alright. Whoa, look at the corn. Come look at this.
What?
You see it's green.
I don't get it.
It's a green corn.
Wait, it's not turning yellow.
No, it's a green type of corn.
Why'd you get the green corn?
We could have green tortillas. Wow, look at this color. Oh, it's got worms. Oh, they'll love it.
Wait, how are we gonna love it if it has worms?
Well, it's gonna dry and the worms are gonna die. But organic corn almost always has worms. It's a fact of life.
I want to try it. Can you sometimes
I'll film
eat?
you.
Can you sometimes eat raw corn?
Not feed corn, which is what this is.
Well, what?
Yeah.
Well, it's not bad.
No, but it's not sweet corn. That's the thing. It doesn't have any sweetness to it.
I don't mind that. It's chalky.
It's very chalky.
Is it gonna make me sick?
No. No, it's just like eating corn on the cob. It's just corn on the cob.
Okay. Well, there you go. Roles reversed.
Okay, we're back.
Seems like a lot of corn to me.
By mid-fall, our baby chicks had grown up into adult hens and were laying about 1 egg a day each. While they still can't really qualify as a typical pet, they are a much welcome addition to the garden in our front yard. Finding our first eggs was exhilarating. And Austin wasted no time in frying them up with tortillas he had made from his green corn.
Huevos rancheros, California eggs.
Well, rancheros eggs.
Oh man,
It's good.
that's really good. Look at the color of that yolk. Bright orange yolk. Mmm. Yum. All we need is an avocado tree. We'll be good to go.
It's your fall cooking corner, and here's your guest, your host, Austin Blair. Hi, Austin.
Hi.
What are you going to show us tonight on your show?
How do you spell feign?
Feign, F-E-I-G-N.
There's a G, that's what I thought.
These are the things that farmers do, and they're not farming.
Oh, you probably want to see what I'm doing over here. Come on. So this is tomatoes that we grew up at our house here. It's a Roma tomato. It's the second year we've saved seed on it. And to save seed on tomatoes is really easy. You just mimic its natural environment. If it falls off the plant, it ferments and rots in the ground, and so that's what we did. We just cut them up, squeezed out the seeds and the goo on the inside. You can see, I let this go for a while actually. So there's this little film of nastiness on the top. And so we're just going for the seeds, because the seeds have an outer coat on them that you can really only get rid of by fermenting. Just kind of mix it around. Ideally, you get it before it gets to this point, or it's kind of gross. But all right. So then we have it all cleaned up, and we're gonna dry them off. Special Dry-O-Matic 5000.
Oh, that you got a special for the show?
Yeah, we got a special one for the show.
So people at home can't do this?
No, they can't. This is a new model. These aren't even on sale yet, actually.
So what do you suggest people at home use? This regular paper
I
towel?
guess you could use regular paper towel, yeah.
Okay.
And just dry them out. Seeds for next year.
Tell me something, give me hope for the night. We don't know how we feel. We're just praying that we're doing this right, though that's not the way it seems. Summer gone, now winter's on its way. I will miss the days we had, the days we had. I will miss the days we had, the days we had. Oh, I miss the days we had. I've been leaving, it's too late for this now. Such a scene for each has gone. Has time driven?
The thing that I like about this is that it really follows the purest rhythms of the human body. It's like people are most alive and active and capable in the summer. And we all hibernate in the winter and like put on a little weight and want to sleep a lot. I'm trying to make cornbread stuffing, which is kind of my go-to for Thanksgiving. And so I'm taking this, I'm just about done, and then I'm gonna grind it, and then make cornbread like normal.
Is it going to be the best cornbread we've ever had?
That's my hope.
You like it?
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of like a medium course. A little bit rough. Like part of it's real fine.
Cool, this is hard work. Whew! Oh my gosh, I'm sweating right now. Oh, okay, that's good.
Are you excited?
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. Yeah, it's the first time we've ever hosted our own Thanksgiving. Our friends are coming over and a bunch of people are coming over. So what we got? Cornbread stuffing, cranberry sauce, turkey, potatoes, pies. This is the making of culture right here. You know?
Yeah.
This has been passed down in my family. And yeah, whatever. It's just a roll recipe. You know. What does that mean? But, I mean, it's... I make this and I think of making it with my grandmother, and then I think of her making it, you know, for all those years. I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool way to be able to kind of honor that tradition and keep something of the past with us. When you come and you taste it and you see and taste the quality of the food that we're producing for just the people here in Sonoma Valley, and the quality of life that the workers and everybody who works this farm can have, myself included, I think it's hard to argue that it's not a great alternative.
My name's Sarah Beck. I'm Casey Beck's sister.
You can say your.
I'm your sister.
Okay.
I eat so differently now. Like, you remember the tomato story. You remember the tomato story.
What's the tomato story?
When the first day I came in here and I was like making lunch and I was like, it'd be really nice to have an avocado and a tomato right now. So I was thinking I was doing everyone a favor by going out and buying tomato. And I was like, look what I have a tomato. And shit got awkward real fast. And he got Austin on the phone and was like, Sue just brought a tomato into the house. And I was like, yeah, I did bring a tomato into the house. What's the problem? And then I found out they're not in season, and you don't eat tomatoes when they're not in season.
Well, for me personally, I would far rather have high quality food and good food and a lot of it and enough to share with anybody who comes by than have nice clothing.
Yeah, and I was saying it's kind of just like a dream life. It's like people, when you hear it, everyone is just like, I want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's what's awesome. It's like you actually just can.
It just seems to me like that anybody that's interested in eating good food, which doesn't just have to be wealthy people. I think it could be anybody, and I think it is a lot of people. And I think that maybe it's not so intriguing that I personally made this choice to do this, but what I do is just an example of saying, these are the things I want to do in life. I want to be able to be outside. I want to be able to have a lot of time to think and be introspective about things. I want to work hard with my body. I want to be able to provide food for my family and my community. And I want what I do to make a difference for other people. And I think that it does, even if it's only, you know, a few hundred people at the farmer's market. So we have found out definitively that Penelope is actually a guy. He started going off. It was like 6 in the morning. It's like, yeah, we can't have this. So that's that. So we'll do a chicken dinner this weekend.
How many animals are you gonna kill in your lifetime?
Including insects? I killed hundreds today.
Peppa had a nice life.
Yeah, definitely.
Short life.
Oh, longer than most. Most broilers are like 2 months.
Is he gonna be tough?
Something like 45 days. No, I think he's gonna be delicious. He's a reasonable sized bird. He's really pretty.
Yeah, it's too bad we can't keep him.
You know.
Why can't we keep him?
Because we can't have a rooster. We live in a neighborhood, unfortunately.
Would you keep him otherwise?
If we lived on a farm, yeah. Yeah. But then I'd have to put the chicken coop farther away from my bedroom. I lose my nerve. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit nervous, but...
That's good. You'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Okay. Okay, so let's...
grab
Okay, so then when we bleed him, I just want to run you through the whole thing. We bleed him, we're going to dunk him in the water for like, by his feet, for like a minute or so.
Okay. He knows.
See, they're so docile when they're upside down.
Look at big bird.
Big bird. Good. Thank you, huh?
You are a good bird.
Good chicken. You just were the wrong sex, you know?
It happens, man.
It happens. Okay.
Stay around.
Okay, we killed Pepe.
Pepe's dead.
But it's okay. Why is it okay?
Because Pepe's not dinner.
Pepe's not what?
Dinner. Or anyhow, he made the stock that made dinner. Let's see if we can find him in here. There we go.
Oh, Pepe.
There's his little neck.
Austin.
That's the
Okay, that no one wants to see that.
That's the good part right there.
You feel happy?
I do.
Are you sad that you couldn't roast him?
Yeah, but as Randy said, it's just, he's not a meat bird. He didn't have a lot of meat on him.
Did you expect that though?
That he wouldn't have a lot of meat on him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that that wouldn't be the case, but I knew deep down that that would be the case. Ooh.
He's good?
It's really good.
I can't believe there's still tomatoes.
I can't either. Last of the year. Gonna take them down. December 19th. They've been here for quite a while. We've literally been picking on them for 6 months, actually, which is pretty crazy. I mean, we're still working, I'm still working 40 hours a week now, and, it could have been raining and could have been sitting in the house and not doing as much. So, there's more work to do and there's a lot more picking to do, and we decided to keep selling throughout the whole year, which Paul hasn't done in past years. I mean, even in the 10-day forecast right now, there's no rain at all. And it's the, 18th of December.
We had anticipated the winter being a time when Austin would have a few extra days off. I know he was looking forward to resting up, watching movies, and working his way through the stack of magazines he'd been saving over the course of a year. But the rains never came. This was good for the farm because they were able to keep rolling, planting and picking and selling. For Austin and me, it was a little hard mentally. We just never got that time of winter, the catharsis of, it's cold, it's wet, and we're just going to stay inside.
If people of our generation don't carry on and promote this tradition and don't, work with the knowledge that has been gained over all these years, kind of like what I'm doing here, learning from Paul, who's been farming for 30 years. Okay. If no one was able to carry on what he knows, that will be knowledge lost.
Soon enough, Austin was planting the corn and beans, this time at our house, to keep the project on a more manageable scale.
We're putting beans everywhere right now.
Austin!
We're putting beans everywhere right now. We are putting beans everywhere right now.
I'm gonna include this and
We're putting beans everywhere.
you're gonna be really embarrassed. You're gonna be really embarrassed.
We're putting beans everywhere right now.
Emphasis on the now?
We're putting beans everywhere right now?
No, not yet.
We're putting beans everywhere right now.
What are you doing?
Planting some beans.
Like
With my corn.
what kind of beans?
These are actually ones I grew last year. They're called Hidatsa shield figure.
What kind of beans is that? What kind of beans is that?
It's one that tastes like it's cooked in bacon.
Ooh.
It's really good. Just like heirloom tomatoes, these are heirloom beans.
What's the heirloom mean?
It just means it was developed pre-industrial agriculture. So this bean is from the 1860s from South Dakota.
Wait, so is that the actual beans from last year? Like you could have eaten?
Yeah, like we ate some and then saved some to plant for this year.
So like the beans from a store? Like I could go to a store and buy some beans and plant them?
Well, the ones at the store, you probably could, but the ones at the store are pretty old. They're almost always like kept in a silo for a few years.
What?
Yeah.
And so you just took them all out of the pods, kept a bunch because you knew that you were going to plant them this year.
I actually just saved the pods, and then when I had time time to shuck them in December, then I just took them back out of the pod and went to town.
Ever since I started dreaming up this movie, people have asked me why documenting this process was so important. For a long time, I couldn't answer them. I just knew that it was. However, after watching Austin work for a year, I think I'm closer to an answer.
I think working on this movie has helped me put into perspective and to kind of clarify for myself why farming means as much to me as it does. And
Why does it?
we just did a whole movie about that. I mean, I can't put it into
A single thing.
No.
Because you love it.
No, I mean, I don't know. I can't. It's impossible. That's like, like, why do I love you? I can't give you a one-sentence answer for that. Yeah, it's fulfilling. It's sustaining. It allows me to feel good. And it doesn't really get any better than that. That if you can spend the bulk of your day doing something that you truly enjoy doing, that you feel like benefits you and your community, and allows you the freedom and flexibility to do the things you want to do, then that's, I can't envision a better job. For me.
I needed to make this movie because somewhere, someone, some person is growing your food. He or she is out there witnessing sunrises and sunsets, the cycles of life and death, plagues and abundant prosperity, abnormal weather, normal weather. They are participants in a way of life that has been experienced since the earliest days of human civilization, whether on 100 square feet or over 100 acres. These farmers have nourished us over time, nourished our bodies, our families, our communities.
In the long run, would it be better if we had a much more local, sustainable food system? I think so. And I think that would mean bringing people around to caring about the quality of food. And if you don't care about the quality of your food, I don't know how to help you with that. I mean, I didn't used to before I tasted how good food could be. I was the same way because it wasn't on my radar. So there's nothing that I'm going to be able to say to someone, in an elevator pitch type of scenario to convince them that way. But if they would be open-minded enough to try, I think it can make a huge difference. I think you could see that there are ways to eat that are more healthful and that are much cheaper than the way most people eat now, that involve eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, a lot of dry grains. But at the end of the day, it involves cooking. And it involves cooking, it involves spending more time around food, and it involves creating community around food.
I believed it was Austin's quiet nature that drove him to become a farmer. Then I realized working 10 hours a day, hands covered in earth, sweat on your brow, or a chill in your toes, depending on the season, will turn anyone's nature quiet.
We have this split where we split work from the rest of our lives. Work is what you do 5 days a week, and then you live your life in the evenings and on weekends and on vacation. I mean, I know that the fact that I'm able to do something that I like and enjoy what I'm doing all day and incorporate that into the way that I live is a luxury. There's no question about that. You spend 40 plus hours a week with the people you work with doing what you're doing. That's, you know, that's a quarter of your life. I mean, that's, aside from sleep, that's the biggest chunk of time you spend doing anything. I think it's pretty important to be able to find something you're passionate about, yeah.
In an age when the norm is to digitally connect with each other, our farmers have chosen to connect with the earth and its bounty. What matters to them, how the tomatoes are doing, whether there will be early rains, if the lettuce will survive the frost, matters to all of us. The rest of us have just forgotten.
Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird. She warbles as she flies. She'll never hide cuckoo till the 4th day of July. Gonna build me a log cabin on a mountain so high, so I can see the cuckoo as she goes flying by. Well, I've gambled in Paris and I've gambled in Spain. We'll bet you $5 we'll beat you next game. Jack of diamonds, Jack of diamonds, I know you of old. You rob my poor pockets of silver and gold. Rye whiskey, oh, I know you of old. You rob my poor pockets of silver and gold. Well, sometimes I feel much younger, and sometimes I feel so old. Sometimes the warm sun shines, sometimes it's dreadful cold. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird. How I wish she was mine. She'd never